Hello friends, September the 24th, a super powerful day-to-day activation. That's what's happening. There's a Mars-Chiron opposition exact today, and it started all off with a M4.4 solar flare. So numbers matter. Whenever we have double numbers, this is a particular indication. It has solar energy. That's the 11-year cycle of the sun. Every 11 years the poles shift on the sun. Very few people really know that. What was north for 11 years will be south for the next 11 years, and then after 22 years it goes back to the original position. That's why the numbers 11 and 22 are so important, called master numbers, because the solar energy is truly the master energy. That is literally the brain, the central unit which runs this whole show. Without the sun, without its energy, nothing would be alive. There would be dead rock. Yes, I mean, sure, rock is not fully dead, but it's not the animate life which we see here on Earth particularly. So anyway, these are super powerful days around the equinox points. You see, it's kind of the horizontal line of the horizon from east to west. This is actually a fractal of the Earth's equator. This is our two arms outstretched. This is where we get interactive. That is really the interactive axis in that sense, versus the vertical, which is where the power is held, the column, where you anchor and where you reach up to new dimensions. It's the spiral of time, which is in the vertical, which also collapses time. And time is a big issue these days. It is really, on one level, linear time is speeding up. I guess there's no question to that. Everybody experiences this. Everything gets more dense. Many things happen in one day, which maybe in earlier times would have happened over years or even decades. They can happen in a week, in a day. It's an enormous momentum there is. So it is definitely a challenge to stay anchored and keep up with all deadlines and necessary things we have to deal with. And this is where vertical time comes in. This is the spiral of time. Once we are able to really come back to the now, this is where the whole magic happens. Then you are able to rise above time as such, because time really, if you look at it, only exists in clocks. If you remove all the clocks from the world, time will cease to exist. It is that grid we put over reality, and we then generate that additional dimension, which literally is all phantom. Past is phantom, future is phantom, in that linear sense. Yes, in the vertical sense they're real, and then they are simultaneous. It is kind of the paradox of time as such. So it's a good day to go into these things. Today is also a powerful day in the Mayan calendar. It's 13-ish, IX spelled, which is the white cosmic wizard. It's the wizard day, the last of the 13 days in the wind cycle, wind being the carrier of spirit, which is a powerful agent of communication naturally as spirit travels. And I always remember this was one of the things which blew my mind. It was on that fateful day when Fukushima occurred. And within days, within a mere number of hours even, they could detect these radioactive particles everywhere on the planet, kind of brought all around by what's called the trade winds, the jet streams. And so it just tells you that within days, whatever air, for example, you're exhaling, and that carries your energy, it will reach pretty much anywhere on this planet. That's how fast air moves and how it diffuses and mixes and relocates. It is that aspect of breath, also naturally breath, which is the carrier of prana. There's a lot in that. Anyway, wind, that is the energy which is culminating today. We are going into the eagle cycle, which is the second last of the 260 in the 260-day grid. The second last will be guided by the eagle, and then the last one coming up after that. So these are the upcoming 26 days, leading us sometime into, I guess, October 22nd or so, where then a new cycle starts. So the last 13 will be about Lammat, Venus star, which is all about excellence and perfection. So we're in that final kind of 52-day part of that 260-day pattern, which is also named as the green central castle, which is all about integration of the 4 directions into a new seed, which then will be planted and coming to fruition within the coming 260-day cycle. A powerful system calendar that is, I work with it every day. It explains so many things which are happening on a daily basis when you know, start to be able to discern the energy. So again, I will put the link once more, as I always do, under this talk in the description, where you can find more information. You can Google it yourself, but on my old website, yes, I still have that information, thecosmoswithin.org. So anyway, today is a powerful day. I don't want to go off too much anymore. So it started with the big solar flare and the 27th degree of Taurus. The 27th degree was activated. You see, there's lots going on in the 27th degrees around. Neptune is here, the galactic center is here at 27, and then 27 also is occupied with Pluto here. So you see already there's lots of transpersonal energies which are activated, and this keeps waxing. Actually, just hours later now, this just happened a few hours ago. You see here the moon was still at 18 degrees when the big flare went off, and here in this chart of the exact moment of the Mars-Chiron opposition, Mars here and Chiron here at 1824 respectively, you see this is what I really think is a very, very powerful momentum this moment has built, as simultaneously within 20 seconds, I went to the exact ephemeris, 20 seconds before the moon was exactly conjunct Pluto. So it is that simultaneous clicking of something into place which connects these two energies strongly. So Mars and Chiron, what is this really? It is the warrior's call, I would say. It is the awakening of that very, very profound force within us all, because we all are connected with nature, and it is now, has reached that place of absolute threat. On that level, we have to start doing what we are here for to do, and this not just means us few who really already are in the inner circle, so to say, but it is literally waking up millions and millions of more people in the next few weeks. This will be really now the avalanche which is rolling down the hills. There's all the signs. This particular one speaks volumes. 27 degrees and 32 minutes. That is where the American nation's Pluto is. So just this alone. See, Pluto will, the first time this year, station past that point of Pluto return. So this is as close as Pluto here in the transits goes back to the American nations Pluto. So this is a true activation of the American nations energy, the people there, moon standing for the people. You can push so far and nature is extremely patient, and we are part of nature. I want to emphasize this once more. We cannot withdraw from that part of us. As soon as it becomes a vital and absolutely getting into the survival zone where you are having to act without thinking, because you're pushed into this extreme zone where there's no second opinion. It's just clear. You know what's to do. It's like your child runs in front of a car and in the last moment you reach out with your hand and pull him back. That's kind of happens without thinking. That kind of reaction, that kind of intelligent interaction in that right moment, using your brains, being smart and doing the right thing, it is all in this chart. This is the Greenwich chart. So I mean, if this would be enough, this chart already would just be a blast. Also, I want to point out a few more exact alignments. Saturn, the black moon here, the black moon coming to oppose Saturn within the next month or so already is very close. I see you see 2 degrees and something. The black moon moves 1 degree every 9 days. It's always 9 days, 1 degree, 9 months, 1 sign, 9 years, a whole circle. Again, the number 9 being a very lunar number in that sense. So this opposition, which still comes into exactness, and in the midpoint is Sedna, who just turned retrograde a few days ago. So Sedna has here activated this first degree of Gemini, which, as I said earlier, Sedna is that kind of vault of deep and profound information. It holding all the history. You could almost call it the holder of the Akashic records. It is that long cycle planet, 11,000 years it takes once around the sun. So it brings back all that into the inner solar system. Will have its closest approach to the sun by 2074, I guess. So really close within that 11,000 plus year cycle. This is as intense as this energy comes into the inner solar system and delivers. That's definitely is way underway. Sedna moved into Gemini first time on June the 11th this year. That was. Also, we have this going on, and this is particularly interesting. Venus conjunct Juno. Juno is partnership, teamwork, helping each other, supporting each other. Is through partnership. It's the idea, many pillars, it needs to hold a big roof. Each of us is a pillar in that big cathedral, you could say, which we put together. And this was the degree where there was a Mars-Venus conjunction heliocentrically on the 22nd of April. Let me see if I have that chart handy here. I thought I had. Let's see. Yes, this is the one. Earth Day that was. And in the Mayan calendar, this was a 1 day, 1 Kawak. That is the storm, the blue magnetic storm that was. So a number one day. On Earth Day, the 22nd, you see again these many things coming together. That was when Venus and Mars, actually this is the geocentric version, here is the heliocentric version, because naturally it's a different geometry, you're looking from a different place, so the planets, particularly the closer ones, appear in a different position. So this was Venus and Mars last time uniting, recreating, and this degree is now activated by Venus as seen from Earth and Juno partnership. So this in itself is showing this resonance here. It happens that tomorrow there will be the Venus-Mars opposition heliocentrically. So they just since April 22nd have now completed half a round. You see here is Venus 2922 in Aries by this time, Mars 2922 Libra. Again, think back, that's where they met here at 19 something. Mars in those whatever many months, that would be 5 months I guess, has moved that many degrees, versus Venus has moved more than half a circle. And interesting here, this is tomorrow now we're talking about, some kind of time traveling a little bit, pulling you from one place to the other, but you get the bigger picture. That's what is super important here. Last degrees of Libra. So Mars is just about to enter Scorpio in the heliocentric geometry. This is big. This will give that kind of you see in Libra, Mars is in its weakest position in a way. It is not really wanting to use its force in the usual way it does, by banging his fist onto the table, kind of, you get it, tantrum, but using it in a mental way, just to negotiate and do it in the legal way. That's kind of the Mars in Libra. You're being very kind of polite in a way, and honoring these rules of that particular way of dwelling. However, with Mars entering Scorpio probably tomorrow, then linking up with Haumea and Elatus, and more on those soon. As I said, on October 1st they both move into Scorpio as seen from Earth. You see they're both already in Scorpio here as we look at the heliocentric, so it's already quite a push from that level 2 of bringing in this intensity, this holy fire, this absolute need to go to the roots of things, to dig up all the hidden parts which are missing in this puzzle. That is the Scorpionic energy, which will be very much amplified as soon as Mars already enters. That's insane. Anyway, what I want to emphasize though is it's the last degrees again, and then there's Pluto here. You see there's a perfect T-square, so this is a true activation which is going on right now on multiple levels. First, today we have that Mars Chiron opposition, and now this is the next really interesting thing about today. Today is a very special day regarding that green comet. Yes, it was never really visible to the bare eye, but it was a very special one. It came in from a 50,000 year orbit, in that sense linking us back to the Lemurian times. And here I have a picture of it. Let's see, here it is. Just thought I share that here a little bit. You can connect with this energy on that level. So I did a multitude of recordings. If you go back to my library, you will find it. It's still very important. This comet is still affecting us. It visited, was closest to the Sun on January the 12th, was closest to Earth early February, and then the particular thing about this comet is it basically moves backwards through the zodiac. It has that more than 90-degree angle to the ecliptic. For that reason, it appears to move backwards through the sky overall. It has been moving forward from our perspective since March the 5th. Now, why is this important? Let me just show you here another picture, then you get the idea. So this is, you see, this is where it was on November the 3rd, 2022. Moved very fast. This is the ecliptic. That is, you see here, I have to use mine. Sorry about that. My mouse, I guess you can't see my finger there on the screen. So here it was in November 2022. This is the ecliptic, Virgo. This is Leo, Cancer. You see the retro move. It goes backwards through the zodiac. And then here, March, early March, it became vertical to the ecliptic and therefore started moving backwards from our vision. So it's always a projection onto the ecliptic which we are measuring. That's how it goes. It's kind of collapsing a space into a paper. And the ecliptic makes definitely sense as a projection screen, as it is the line we see the sun drawing through the sky over the year's course. It is that very charged line where the constellations are, the main constellations which are making up the zodiac. At least there is this resonance in the names. It's not quite accurate anymore. You see here, for example, you see the constellation of Leo, where Regulus is. Anyway, the long story short, the comet was moving backwards for a long time, as it usually does, and then started turning forward. In that sense, what usually would be a retrograde phase for every other planet. And it moves, it actually reaches its maximum in this retrograde direction, which was actually perceived from Earth as a forward motion, so it goes against its grain in a way to go forward for that comet. Now that comet was super important as it was related to the awakening of the star seeds. That's how I saw it. It's really that loop which was made back to the Lemurian times, which linked that together, and that showed up on multiple levels. It was actually the 9 Magenta Pixie. You can go to her channeling. She spoke about that green comet too. The 9 were giving lots of information about it. So it was, they actually called it the green star-seeded comet of the delivery codes. So there were, these energies were awakened and those codes were activated, and that now has been actively moving outward since March the 5th and comes to a halt today as the comet, it's not completed here, but you can complete this line yourself. So we moved back through May, June, July, August, September, and we are at September 24 and at 18 degrees Cancer. That is where the comet has now reached its maximum in opposite direction, I should say, which again is forward from Earth's view, and from now on will go backward again and will move forever backward I guess as it gets out of the Earth's reach, it might be still moving a little bit. I don't know about that because, yeah, it depends on the distance. Probably still because of Earth's motion can go a little bit forward and back. But this was the last big spell of reverse motion. Now let's go back here to what I want to show you. This is the moment the green comet reaches this maximum in longitude at 1839.53. Again, thank you to Ron Scott and Mariana Gatova. They have provided us with the exact ephemeris, and that's where I got that information. So this was the moment. Now look at this chart alone. That was early morning today at 5:59. The sun was just rising in Greenwich. Sunrise, very important time of the day. So this is a true activation moment we are experiencing. There's no question on that. These codes have now been shaken awake, you could say, and from now on they start working themselves into the deep, into the cracks and the ridges, and will almost, you could say, kind of put the fuses in place, and or even the explosives, which then will eventually demolish the whole system. However, I wouldn't then really think it will go down that that violently. I think it will be really an implosion, which it's just these energies are already no more getting the sustenance. They have been linked into slowly their resources are cut off. I mean, we know they still are fighting hard, and that's okay. It is in the end, it is really awakening us. We probably, as a humanity, as a race, as civilization, we only were coming to this awakening through these enormous pressures, forces we were forged in that sense. And you see, this chart is just amazing. So you have this first degree of Libra, again Libra, the beginning of the collectivization, which I focused on in my other video from yesterday. Go back to it, please. So we're growing together. We are feeling more of what is happening around us. We are becoming more transparent. The 30 degrees, I really always love Rudyard. He's such a master in understanding the energy. So the first 15 degrees of Libra, transfiguration and then reconstruction. So this is a big month, that month of Libra. It is really changing the gears, and with Mars in Libra here still geocentrically for quite a bit, even though, as I said, heliocentrically it moves into Scorpio, gets that scorpionic backdrop energy from tomorrow on or so. But still in Libra, it is all about doing it the right way. Everything has to be done by the book, as the big quote from the Q releases was one of the key quotes, I would say. Anyway, we have these two, which I have been talking about. Astraea here, which is a star maiden, very powerful energy, an asteroid, the 5th largest asteroid of the main belt asteroids, has a metallic body, and as being the largest of those remains, you can be sure it was part of the core of that blown up planet Marduk, Maldek, Tiamat. There's several names out there. So in general, the asteroids are super important. They are giving us the roles to play, what they tell us how to approach this problem, what we can do in that context of mending that whole narrative and them helping it to grow in its proper direction. Vesta, all about worship. Worship is the big word here. You see, it's the holy flame, the symbol. Offering one's energy to a greater good, to a greater cause. It is that readiness to sacrifice your time, to give away. Yes, it has that in its extreme. I keep saying that it can be also quite fanatical in one way or other. However, in this configuration here in Cancer, I see this really as the coming together of humanity, helping each other. Very powerful also chaos here, which is the original primal order of things. And Aspolus, I mean, you can't make these things up. Aspolus is the investigator, the one which is not giving in before having solved all the problems, riddles. It's that I really see it as that investigative spirit. I keep referring to Sherlock Holmes, also interested in dark stuff, naturally. And then here we have Ischion. Ischion is a very smart energy too, and on the negative, Ischion has been highly abusive. However, he was punished, put on a flaming wheel, and had to be tied onto that spinning wheel for a long time to come to his senses, because he betrayed Zeus, the main god on the Olymp, and was able to cheat on him. Okiroi, an amplifying energy, enlarging, making things bigger. Yes, indeed. And then Vesta. Here we haven't even talked of Vesta yet. Another asteroid energy is the ability of abstract thinking, of abstraction, art and science, understanding things in as seen from a higher perspective. It's also the recognition of patterns, and it is the higher frequency of Mercury, I would call it. The really refined use of thought and of reason. So this is a super powerful chart, and nevertheless, even there is the moon here conjunct Arrokoth and Hilonome, and the part of fortune again in this and applying conjunction. So this was quite a few hours before Mars and Chiron had their exact opposition. You see here Mars is still at 1801. 1826, Mars had still a few minutes of arc to go. But there was already that T-square active. Nevertheless, it was not fully exact yet, because the moon is here. The moon is the activator too here. So the moon comes here in through the back door with Arrokoth. Arrokoth again, the one energy which allows us to see everything from really far away, from actually the farthest place in this solar system, in this cosmos, you could even say we have ever been to. So naturally, the farther away you step from something, the more you can get that integrative vision, and that is what Arrokoth stands about in hexagram 61, inner truth even more. So this is highly emphasized, this urge, this search, this magnetism, I would almost call it, for truth, for the real thing, to really center in on what matters and what is most important. It's again that coming together to the center of the cross. It is that same thing with hexagram 60. So let's see if there's anything left here, that it won't get too long. And so this was, we spoke about that one, that's upcoming tomorrow. Yes, that is the heliocentric Mars and Venus opposition. This is this geocentric perspective, and yes, this is powerful to the moon. By that time, that's one day later, you see, that's now the 25th. The moon by now is 12 degrees and something here in Aquarius, conjunct Hygeia. Hygeia has been actually pumped up by the sun in the last 5 days. There were multiple solar flares which were perfectly directed towards Hygeia. Hygeia, health, well-being, serendipity. I guess you get the picture. This is then the next level up in this big creation story. Yes, we are helped tremendously. I mean, just coming back once more to the North Node Eris conjunction, which goes on for months on end. Literally lining us all up collectively into this direction of questioning, of asking for the truth and nothing but the truth in the context, naturally in the context of what's occurring. Eris is ready to sacrifice everything for getting closer to the truth, what truly happened. Not afraid of conflict and squaring and combating. Important to know this is that warlike energy which is truly now getting into all our bones, I would even say. And yes, then the next one we spoke about, that was back in April, and this one we spoke of too. So thank you for joining and listening. Enjoy this powerful activation day. And yes, it can be a little bit what's the word here, edgy, huh? Edgy, and the warrior energy after all. And be with it, feel it, and contemplate on it. Talk to you soon. Bye bye. Thank you.